Thank you, folks. We're proud and excited to have here with us. It's the middle of the night for him, so go easy. One of the creators and writers of the show, Yehonatan Indursky.
Hello.
He'll be up on the big screen in a moment. Hold on, and then you can applaud. There we go.
I think. Hello, Isaac. How are you? Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you in this night. I think it's the most easy way for me to be in New York. Without jet lag, without 12 hours flight, just like this, sitting on the couch on my. Uh, Indeed, in the middle of the night, but still, beautiful way. Thank you for this pleasure to share this moving moment with you when the series premiere all over the world. It's amazing. Thank you for you, JCC. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Easy and Nati Dinar, for the opportunity to be all over the world, to be close to our people, and to be to feel you, even from the far away.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Zoom, for creating this amazing technology, and yes, if you want your Izzy subscription, you got to sit through this entire Q&A. So they'll be good now. I have so much to ask, but I also want to take some questions from the audience. But let me start drilling in. First of all, okay, so why not continue Shtisel? Where did this come from, and why did you choose specifically these characters to follow?
Yeah. So if you're gonna continue to watch Kugel, and I hope you're gonna continue to watch, you will see without to do any spoilers, Libby. Actually, you saw it already, but she started to write a story on a newspaper, a Haredi newspaper. And in the beginning, she's writing. She bring them a story that she would like to share. Then they say, we want a story in continue, like with an episode every week. We want another episode. So it's a choice you need to do if you want to tell one story all your life, or you want to go to another story. I think Shtisel was an amazing experience for me, of course, and for a lot of other people. And it was a moment that we felt that it's okay. We can left these beautiful characters on their place, on their apartments in Mea Shearim, and we can continue to another story, to search, to find another way to tell the same story, but in another way. Let's say it's not Shtisel, it's not Shtisel, it's just another story with characters that we know, that, but also we learn new things about them.
How is it different creatively for you? How is it a completely different experience? You're saying that it is the same story. And by the way, one of the things I think that makes Shtisel and this so great, and you started off by saying this is about storytelling. And it is the storytelling. It's all kind of beautiful storytelling that really, gives a lot of attention to good storytelling, which I think is, in many ways is also extremely Jewish. But how is this different? How is the creative experience different between this and Shtisel?
So just to say, indeed, I think it is a Jewish practice to tell a story. I think it's connected to the fact that we was so many years, a guest in another places that nobody wants us. We had not so beautiful story, our own story, so we had to develop another stories. They used to say that when Jewish people, they are angry, so it's not always there is what to eat. So you have what to imagine. You can talk about what you would like to eat in this moment, even you have know this. So indeed, it's a Jewish practice to tell stories, and I think that Kugel deal with this subject even deeper than Shtisel. For your question, I think it was, and I will go back also for the other question that I didn't answer, why we choose these two characters. And I will tell you in the beginning, it was not clear that it was clear that we want to tell a story about Nochem. I think it was, but I was thinking that maybe it's gonna be after Shtisel. Nochem, like after we met him on Shtisel in the third season, he had the fight with, if you remember, and I'm sure you remember, with Shulem about the heart of this woman, Nechama, and to see what's going to be with this guy after he loses his daughter. And then it was one evening here in Tel Aviv that I went to some bar and I met by chance Adas Yaron, the character, and she told me, Yonatan, it's too bad I get a lot of requests from people. They ask how it can be that they give up on this amazing character Libby, and what's happened with her, why how it can be that we can continue to live without her, without to know what about her. So she told me, why you will not tell at least me the story? And I came back after this evening, and it was in the time when I just started to develop the story of Kugel, and I say, Nochem must to have some feminine, let's say, partner to share his new story. And I thought that Libby can be an amazing thing. And the only option to do it is to go back in the time, which is something that only in the literature and in television and in storytelling we can do. And it's amazing gift that I had in this opportunity to tell this story.
That was a good move from the actress because she got herself a new role and made sure she was. She's everybody loves my role. They all want to know more about it. You should really do a spinoff. Speaking of spinoffs, I'd love to know. I remember the first times one of the first times we were screening Shtisel here before everybody knew about it. One of the producers was here with us, and when I was asking him about the inspirations, he said The Sopranos. He used that as a comparison. Is there an inspiration for Kugel in your mind?
Yeah, I remember. I think it was kind of a joke, and the second part of the joke that I think it was my partner for writing Shtisel, Ori Alon, and we used to say that Shtisel is a Sopranos without violent and without sex. It's just it's just with a piece of Kugel and a glass of sparkling water, and here we are with only the Kugel and the sparkling water. Like we went to, and I don't know if you remember, but the first scene of Shtisel is a dream that Akiva is dreaming, and he is going to the restaurant that he used to be there, and like the ancient restaurant that for days it's gonna be a part of the Shtisel family, and he met there his mother. She eat Kugel. She is missing him. She's cold, and they eat Kugel together. And I think Kugel is something, let's say, if we search the rosebud of Shtisel, maybe it's sitting inside a piece of Kugel, triangle with some pickles next a piece of pickle next to it, and it's some very very hard core of Shtisel, and when you go deep to the rosebud, to the core. So in a way, you have a more close point of view. You see the things differently. I think the storytelling in Kugel, it's a different way of storytelling. And let's not forget that we have here another people that they became part of the creation. It's of course first of all Erez Gavel, the director that did amazing and beautiful job, and he took the series to kind of another path, another road, and together with his photographer Guy Raz, that did. You can feel his breath during the shots, and I think they took the scripts that I wrote to another level. They brought a groove. They brought some very very special thing that actually brought another view to the show, and I'm very happy about it because Shtisel we did already. Now it's the Kugel time, and let's enjoy.
It's Kugel time. I love saying that. So you're saying the inspiration was Citizen Kane. I got it.
For your question, I'm
And
sorry. I will always answer to the previous question in the in the next. So Sopranos. I must to say that I was studying in a cinema school for 5 years, and I spend a lot of time there, a lot of money also for the. But always I say I'm telling to students or people that asking me the most that lessons that I got in my life to how to write cinema, how to write television is from series that I like. And first and foremost, it's Sopranos. I watch this series so much times. I can I have it in my mind. I watch it more than any Jewish book, holy book that I learn. I watch Sopranos, and you can test me on it if you want. I don't know if this is a good time for it, but it, it, it is a masterpiece, Sopranos, and it will stay, I think, forever. And this is maybe a sign for a masterpiece that you can watch it now, 20 years after they did it, and still to feel that it's talk to you. You can find yourself there in any frame. Even it's a series about a mafionaire, very far from us
well, I
in a way.
think people who are very far from the world of Shtisel might feel the same way about Shtisel and hopefully Kugel. One of the big differences that I find, and you mentioned the cinematographer and the director being new, there is a different look and definitely a different feel and part of it. Even like the credits get a little more, I don't know, old film European kind of has that tone. And of course, being in Antwerp is just changes the whole environment. What kind of research did you do to really create that world?
So it's interesting, I will tell you a story because we like to tell stories as you got. So when we start to work on Kugel, the producer of the series, Dikla Barkai, that she produced also Shtisel, of course. So she told me, listen, Jonathan, we must to go to Antwerp. You like, I will tell you the truth, I never was in Antwerp before I start to write this series. And she told me we need to go there to see how it's going, what people eating, how they talk, which kind of jokes they have, etc., etc. And I told her, it was a very busy year in my private life. I just got married, and I had some stuff to deal with. And also I became religious. It takes time from you. You need to, to go to the morning. You need to wake up early. It's still a lot of time from my life. So I told her, listen, and I'm ashamed to say it, but it's good to be ashamed sometimes. I told her, listen, I know Haredi, I'm Haredi. Haredi, they are anywhere, they are the same. In Brooklyn, in Mea Shearim, in Antwerp. Believe me, there is no. And she was insist, let's go there. And I think she was she right. She was right because we went there, and I found a beautiful world that I never met, another environment, another kind of people, some very, very interesting place. And just to tell you in a one sentence, what is the difference? When I came there in the first time, it was some guy that guide us, like Haredi guy, Hasidic, and he told me a story. He told me that how the Jewish community here, how it's created. So I said, I don't know. So apparently Antwerp is there is a port there, a namal. How you say port?
A port, yeah.
Port. And Jewish people came from all over the Eastern Europe. They came to Antwerp, but not to stay there. They wanted to come to New York, the place that I have the right to be in this evening with you. And some of them, or most of them, they had the opportunity to go there and to start a new life, but it was some people stay behind, and it was the sick people and the criminals, which this he told me this is our story, and of course this is just a joke. I met there a beautiful people, very interesting community that developed from a lot of kind of Jewish people, and all of them they live together, secular, Haredi, Hasidic, Litvak. There is something that I never saw in any other Jewish community, and also they speak 5 languages, which is not bad for a Haredi guy that speak very broken English. Forgive me for this.
One of the things that this relates to is the what makes, I think, Shtisel and Kugel. By the way, Kugel's not the same all over the world. I don't know what Antwerp Kugel's like, but Jerusalem Kugel is nothing like New York and Brooklyn Kugel, as I'm sure you know well. But one
Talking
of the
about
things.
research, just to say that I did research about this subject, and there is at least 30 kinds of Google that I have the list. If you want, I will share with you after. 30 kinds.
I hope this gets explored throughout the show because then you have me hooked. But actually, this is what I wanted to bring up as my last question before I turn it over to the audience. The authenticity is a lot of what works. This is clearly told from within a world that knows the nuances of the Hasidic world, as opposed to an outsider telling the story about the ultra Orthodox world. And I'm wondering how the actors, especially, I mean, I'm thinking about Sason Gabay, who's I believe he's a fantastic actor, but not even an Ashkenazi Jew.
Born in
How
Baghdad.
how the set, I mean, the directors, I don't think, come from the ultra Orthodox world, how they were able to keep things so realistic and so authentic to the experiences. I feel like there's a lot more Yiddish in this in Kugel, and there's a lot of nuance there. What was that process like?
So first of all, if talking about the differences between Shtisel and Kugel, so Kugel actually taking place more in the Hasidic environment, because Antwerp it is a Hasidic city, and there are a lot of most of them they are Hasidic. There is also Litvak, and there is another kind of Haredi, but most of them they are Hasidic, and I think for me it was an opportunity to go inside. Also, I born in a Litvak family. Even we have some Hasidic roots, but it was also for me an opportunity to research this world and to go deep inside this content. Of course, first of all, it's about the research. It's about the to know the characters, to know the place, as I mentioned, thanks to Dikla. And but also I must say about the people, the very talented people that you mentioned. For example, Sason Gabay, that he born in Baghdad. He is not Ashkenazi, and in the first time on Shtisel already, when the casting director told us that she think that he is the only guy can do it, we asked like very shy, but what about the Yiddish part? And she told us, "Don't worry, it will be good." And he came. This guy came to the first rehearsal, and it was crazy. Like he talked Yiddish that like he never talked another language. I was shocked. I think he was shocked by it. But I think this is the power of an amazing actors, as well as for Erez, that, as you mentioned, he is a secular guy. He lives here in the center of Tel Aviv. I'm not sure he had a lot of opportunities here in Israel to talk to Haredi people before he worked on Kugel. Of course, not people in Antwerp, but he did amazing job. He was there for a long time. He met a lot of people. He had we call them mashgiach kashrut, like the
Supervisors.
supervisor, a kosher supervisor, that they was on the set to check that everything is on point, how they talk, the Yiddish is good, Hasidic Antwerp Yiddish, the food is going well, and even the small parts, that how to put the sidur, that it will not be on the face, how to kiss the mezuzah, etc., etc. And they did an amazing job.
Amazing job. Here in America now, on all sets, they have an intimacy coordinator who kind of makes sure that everything's kosher in terms of the way the actors are interacting physically. That was not a problem for this show, I'm sure. And instead, you get a mashgiach kashrut, a coordinator who takes care of the kashrut. It's
By the way,
definitely a
by the
unique
way,
concept that could only happen in Israel.
By the way, our Mashgiach Kashrut in Antwerp, he was a Haredi guy that he is not anymore Haredi. He was like ex-Haredi guy. He was from Hasidic family, and he was there. And he told me that it was a beautiful opportunity for him to come back to this life, but in another way, as someone that he need to be the guy that telling what is good, what is not, but in very other way, how from the way he was used to deal with this kind of subject. So it was kind of a, let's say, a good tikkun for him, if we can say.
It's definitely a way to go to get close to that world without having to be deep inside of it personally.
Exactly.
I'd love to take a couple of questions from the audience. The hands are up already, and we'll pass the
Hi.
mic.
That was just wonderful. And I would love to hear you talk about the tone a little bit. I think you strike such a specific tone where it's playful, but it's not cliche. And I think, at least in the US, a lot of Yiddish humor, it's like very shtick, it's kind of overplayed. And I'm curious how you found that grounded but playful tone.
So thank you, first of all, and we can't not talk about this guy that I see myself on this stage, and it's I never saw myself in this kind of a size, so I'm not sure what to think about it. I see I'm a bit red, if I can say, but because
That was a color
I,
choice. The director made a coloring choice here and put on the
I
red
eat
filter.
I guess I eat too much Kugel in my life, and this is the result. So be careful. And so for your question, the tone of the series, I must to say that never when you write a series, you know what's going to be the tone after. It's not something that you can hear, you can listen to it when you write. So I must say what I said, what I told you already, that I think the tone that you talk about it, it's something that came also from the director, from the editing, from the music, the beautiful music that very talented people wrote for the series, and of course it's come also from the writing, but I think something, the fact that I wrote about some far world, that it's not exactly the world where I grew up. It's not the world where I the surrounded. It's make maybe easy way for me to imagine another life, to go to be a bit lost inside this environment. And also with I guess this is also the fact the fact that there is, as you mentioned, Isaac, a lot of Yiddish in this series, much more than on Shtisel. I think it's part of it also from it came from the fact that I was sitting here in Tel Aviv, and like as there is a beautiful sentence Rabbi Yehuda Levi wrote, Libi, how it is, help me, Isaac.
Libi b'mizrach, but something's in my heart is in the west, but my body's in the east, but my heart is in the west, or the other way around. Or
Yeah, I think the opposite, but not matter. It's the same meaning. I was sitting here. I was in the sunny Tel Aviv, and I was imagine myself in the cloudy Antwerp, and it's always a good way to write when you miss something. I think what I met in Antwerp when I was there, and also when I wrote about this beautiful place, is that maybe it's the last shtetl that exists in the world. I don't know if you know, but Antwerp is the only place in Europe that people after the Holocaust, they came back to their home. They came from the camps back to their home. Their home was waiting for them, and they opened the door, and it was some blinches in the fridge still. I don't know, and there is something in this place that they succeed to keep something from the old shtetl, and I think it came also for the series, and it's part of the tone that you talk about it.
And I'll add to this in terms of the question. What's fascinating about this world is that there's a culture here that uses Yiddish not as shtick, not as the way I think New York culture has evolved. And it's really interesting now when I speak to people who are not from New York and not Jewish, and they're using all these Yiddish terms, and I'm like, that's my term. But when this is used as a language, it is a complete language that comes with its own culture that is completely separate from the Yiddish that we use here in America in many ways.
Yeah, and also I will tell you, it's very different from the Yiddish that they speak in Shtisel, because the Shtisel Yiddish, it's let's say Yerushalayimdik Shtisel Yiddish that spoken by people from Jerusalem. They have their accent, they have their way to talk. The Antwerp Yiddish, and we work on it. Not me, because my Yiddish is not so good for my bed, but we work on it very hard to get the exact Yiddish that these people they talk. And I'm very happy to hear that this was your film, because we try to bring the feeling that the Yiddish is like one of the characters, and it's there anywhere. You feel it in the environment, you feel it in the food, you feel it in the dialogues, of course, but also in the texture of the frames.
We're gonna have time for 2 more questions.
Hi, it's so wonderful, and I'm so happy to see the prequel to Shtisel. I have a question that I watch Nachem and I think of consequences, his behavior, and what you thought of as you were creating him. There are consequences to his behavior, and when we're in synagogue and we are taught about how we should live our lives, he's very devious. And, there are consequences to his life and his behavior. And I'm wondering if you thought of sort of a course of a path for him in terms of his behavior and what the consequences would be to that when you were creating him.
Yeah, so thank you for the question and for the compliments as well. And I would like to think that to say that anything in life it's about consequences. But it's not true, we would like to think that things they are planned, that there is some when someone with Haredi appearance say it, it's even more it makes sense that there is someone that manage everything, that there is some plan for the things, but there is no plan. Any day, and maybe after these horrible 2 years, and we are in front of I don't know. I guess in a terrible day that's going to be here in Israel for all of us, and for any Jewish people in the world. We know that there is no plan, so anything is kind of we follow, we follow, and at least in the stories that someone wrote, there is some plan. Oh, you hope to believe that someone wrote it with some plan, what he is doing. Don't be sure about it.
I think Netanyahu wrote this one. All right, one last question up there.
Hi, thank you for being here with us. This is a wonderful evening. My question is, will Michael Aloni be back? I hope so.
So
I'm gonna actually add to that question, because not everybody here is just in love with Michael Aloni. Are there some cameos? What else? What's going to develop? And will we see Michael Aloni on Kugel?
So I will tell you something, and I will start with another story. When we start to work on it, and when I came with the idea, let's put Libby in the center of the series. So the I don't remember, one of the producers or one of the people from the broadcaster, they asked me, but how we can start to tell a story, a new series about a character that we know that she gonna leave us in some years, she gonna die. So I told him, like we are sitting here, 5, 6, I don't remember how much people were sitting, and the only thing that I know about all of us, that one day we will not be here anymore. And this is what's beautiful in our existing. This is what the fact that we are human beings, that the fact that we are here for a second. We are like a leaf falling, staying on the tree, but we know that we're gonna fall. And this is our fragile existence. This is what makes us so unique, so deserve for a mercy, so deserve for someone to tell our story, to remember us, because this is the goal of any art in the world, to remember, to remind us how any human being, not matter from where he come, he is Jewish, he is not Jewish, he is he's a human being, and he deserves for a mercy. For your question about Michael Aloni, you know,
Now that you've given everyone an existential crisis, good.
you know, as always, we say no prayer will not help for this. It's good to to pray for him to come back. I hope that he, I hope that in some season will of Kugel, of course, we're gonna see him, and maybe we'll do some you know how you call it when there is some encounters of a 2 series. There is a name of it,
A
no?
crossover, a real
Oh,
crossover.
Thank you. Maybe we're gonna do crossover between Kugel and Shtisel. It's gonna be a beautiful corner. I would like to be there on these two on this meeting. And by the way, Michael Aloni is living just here, 2 blocks from the place where I talked to him. He is an amazing guy, except that he is an amazing character. And let's hope that he gonna come back, and we will know what's happened in the end with him and with Libby. I think it's gonna be one day. I hope for it, and I think.
Hopefully you're watching all this for more than just Michael Aloni. Yehonatan, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, folks, for being a part of this.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for your beautiful words and for this warming feeling to share time with you in this evening.
Thank you. I want to thank Nati for being here tonight and coming all the way from Israel and partnering with us. You could watch the rest on Izzy. Don't miss it, and tell your friends. Thank you very much, and have a good night.